You have no idea how excited I am for this one. And that is because today's book is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Amanda, how on earth could you do better than just reviewing that book? And that is where I have something else for you, because I found the most perfect wine to go with it. Introducing Santa Julia. It's a Malbec, and it is a 4 out of 5. It is pretty good, but the reason I picked it is because that, my friends, is a poppy flower. Which is a nice segue into meeting our main character, Poppy, who we meet at the beginning of the book in the Red Pearl, which for all intents and purposes is kind of like a seedy location because it's a bar and also a little something else. And I'm not gonna lie, the first chapter was really hard because it's really dense. You learn a lot. Like, for instance, that Poppy is not supposed to be at the Red Pearl for a lot of reasons, but the biggest one being that she is the Maiden, which is a girl that is supposed to be veiled, and she's not supposed to speak to anyone, and she's not supposed to have friends, and she's not supposed to do sex, drugs, rock and roll. Not that rock and roll is a thing at this time. She's not supposed to do anything. She's supposed to be pure and, like, you know, the Maiden. And so because she is so coveted by basically everyone, but specifically the Ascended, which are these group of people that have been blessed by the gods, you know, so they're like special and stuff. They become Ascended at the Ascension, and so that's what Poppy is saving herself for. So she's at the Red Pearl because she's like, screw it. But then one of her guards, whom she's like most close to, like he's kind of like a father figure to her, Victor, he walks in and she's like, oh crap, I gotta stop playing card games now. And so she's talking to this lady who works behind the bar, and the lady behind the bar is like, I know all about you. You're not supposed to be here, and you're the Maiden, and I know this. And Poppy's like, huh? You're gonna turn me in, like, cause this is gonna be. She's like, no, I'm not. Go upstairs, 6th room on your left, I think. So Poppy runs upstairs, which is where all of the really risky activities take place. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, I'm talking about sex. So she runs upstairs and goes into the room that is empty. It is not empty. Hawk is there, which is another one of the guards, and he's young and he's hot. She's like, oh crap, I know about him. Obviously he's hot, and so now got herself the problem. And he thinks she's someone else because she stole a dress, and so he starts coming on to her, and Poppy doesn't stop it, because why would you stop that? You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. As the Maiden, Poppy has a lady in wait, whatever, the lady that hangs out with her. Her name is Tawny, and she's actually super sweet. She is like best friends with Poppy, even though like she doesn't have to, and technically Poppy's not allowed to be friends with her, but like, And Tawny is a second daughter. So the second daughters and sons are allowed to be a part of the Ascension. However, the third sons and daughters are to be given up to the Ascended / the gods, and they go to a temple and they get raised to be great human beings. Anywho, Rylan is another one of Poppy's guards, and she's pretty close to him. And that's unfortunate because he dies. And he dies because Poppy and him go out to the gardens, and he's grown a little too comfortable, and they get an attack, and the guy or the person kills Rylan, and Poppy then defends herself because Victor has taught her self-defense. So good job, Victor. It saved her life, but unfortunately it didn't save Rylan. So now she is down a guard. But don't you worry, it will be replaced by the one and only Hawk. There are very few people that get to see her without her veil. And the Duke, who is a douche canoe, and the Duchess are, you know, making Hawk her guard, and they're like, hey, Poppy, take your veil down. Let him see your face. And the Duke is like, isn't she beautiful? Well, half of her is beautiful, and half of her is a nightmare. Hawk says both halves are as beautiful as the whole. Meaning he thinks she's pretty, scars and all, because here's the thing about Poppy. She was attacked by a craven in her youth, and this is why she's the chosen one or the Maiden, because she she survived. She wasn't turned into another Craven or dead. So she has these scars on her face, but Hawk thinks she's beautiful. I feel like this updoes a lot. Then there's an attack on like the wall that surrounds Castle Tyrman in Macedonia, and Poppy's like, well, I am really good with a bow and like arguably like really good at defending and stuff. So she's like, I'm for sure gonna fight. So she sneaks out and starts fighting alongside all these other trained guards. She's in her nightgown and her little slipper things, and she's shooting and she's like fighting off Craven and stuff, and she's like real concerned because they almost made it over the wall. Anyway, she starts to escape, and then Hawk is like, wow, mystery person, you're really good with a bow, and then pins her against a wall and like kisses her and is like, I know exactly who you are and I don't think it's safe for you to be out here. And she's like, oh my god, wait, you know exactly who I am? Because like I was trying to keep that a secret from you because like it's really risky for you to know who I am. You're gonna turn me in. During Hawk's initiation to being a guard, she like smiled at the Duke, and so the Duke is really pissed at her, so she gets called to the Duke's office, and he's like, seems like I need to teach you a lesson. Take off your veil and lower your dress top because I'm gonna beat you with this cane. And in front of Lord Maiden, so much happens, and then there is an attack on Castle Tyrman. Poppy's like fighting and Tawny's like fighting, and there's a lot that happens. I like wish I could tell you guys more, but there's not enough time anyway. In this fight, Victor dies. And this fight is against they are people that believe that Prince Castile, or the Dark One, is their rightful leader. And so Victor dies trying to help Poppy, but so does Duke Tyrman. He gets like stabbed, which is kind of what starts it all. And then Poppy cuts Lord Maiden limb from limb and like tears him into pieces, which I am so happy for her. Then the Queen of Carcedonia is like, hey, I want you to come back, Poppy, because you're clearly not safe in Macedonia, so you need to come back. And so she's like, hey. And of course, the person who's leading this is Hawk. Oh yeah, the Night of the Right, which is when all hell breaks loose. I don't know how I forgot this because it's literally the best part. But Hawk and Poppy kiss and make out and stuff, which is not allowed as the Maiden. So she's like, to hell with it all, basically. So they're heading to Carcedonia now because it's in her best interest to leave. Hawk leaves with Kieran or Kyran. I read it as Kyran, but I don't know what it's supposed to be. But at any rate, and some other guards, like a lot, because here's the thing, they have to go through the Blood Forest, which is dangerous. And so they make it somewhere and they sleep in a tent. Poppy can't really fall asleep, and Hawk is like, I can help you sleep. Let me help you. And she's like, no. And then she's like, yeah. So they make it to this place called New Haven, and Hawk and Poppy get jiggy with it, and Hawk is like, please promise me that you'll remember that all of this is real, that this is real. And she's like, yeah, I promise. Obviously it's real, it's happening. So like, and then he disappears, and then all of a sudden this other guard, Phillips, shows up, and he's like, we gotta go. And she's like, what do you mean we gotta go? And he's like, something's not right here, and I don't think Kyran and Hawk are good people. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Long story short, Phillips was right and he dies. Kyran is a woman, and so is Delano and some other people, and Hawk is none other than Prince Castile Denier, or the Dark One, or basically aka Poppy's worst. And so basically she just had sex with her worst enemy, and so now she's disgusted with herself, and she's like, oh my god. And to make it worse, he's an Atlantean, which means he's like this soul-sucking monster. Yeah, so she's like, what have I done? Then some people try to kill her because they're like, she can't be trusted, and she's the reason our children are dying because to make ascended. They're basically like vampires, except they feed off of human blood, and specifically the children of, I think, the firstborn or whatever. I'm a little mixed up right now because I'm a little intoxicated. Versus the Atlanteans only feed off Atlanteans. So they're a little bit better because they don't feed off of children. So basically everything Poppy knew to be truth this far in her life has been an absolute lie. And also her heart's broken because she just gave her V card to her worst enemy. And so his plan was to just trade her to Carcedonia to release his brother, but he changed his mind. And so now Prince Castile, Hawk, the Dark One, has proposed to Poppy. She is going to be his wife, supposedly. He's not going to give her away to Carcedonia anymore, so now we are back at square one, which means it is time for the breakdown. Cover design. 4.5. I love it. It's really pretty. The red leaves are like from the Blood Forest and stuff, and there's knives and the arrow because Poppy is a badass. Characters are going to get a 5 out of 5 because I love Poppy. She is like the sensitive but badass heroine. Hawk, Castile, Cass is this like really dreamy, really sexy bad boy that we love that has a really sensitive side. And then there's Kyran or Kieran, however you want to pronounce it, and he's pretty cool. He's also a wolven. Did I say that? I don't know if I did or not, but he is. Plot is a 5 out of 5 also because this is like a whole, essentially it's a vampire novel because both the Ascended and the Atlanteans drink blood, but they are different, but they are vampires nonetheless, essentially. And it doesn't feel like a vampire novel. Like, it's not like Twilight, and it's not like anything else. I love it. The ending is a 5 out of 5 because not only does it end, you know, where you're finding out that Hawk is Prince Castile and blah, blah, blah. It's ending with him proposing to Poppy without a ring, and the book drop gets a 5 out of 5. Go figure. Because, like, you know pretty early on that Hawk is Castile, or at least I feel like I pieced it together pretty early on. I was like, wow, he's being really sus and stuff. But oh my god, when it hits you, it's still like, oh, which gives From Blood and Ash a 4.9 out of 5. It's almost a perfect score. I think it's the best on Boozy Bookworm to date. I love this novel. I will catch you next time. Stay boozy, my friends.